X-Men 97 Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3 were amazing for me. And I thought, it can't get any better than this. And then they dropped Episode 4. Welcome back, everyone. We're here today to talk about X-Men 97 Season 2, Episode 4, Rise of Apocalypse, Part 2. I have so many thoughts about this episode. I cannot wait to get into it with you. But before we do, I need to know, what is your most surprising X-Men moment? There are a lot of good ones to pick from, and there are a lot of weird ones to pick from. It can be from the comics, it can be from the animated series, it can be from the movies, whatever you want to let me know about. But let me know your most surprising one down in the comments below, because this one was a pretty big deal for me. Okay, we're going to be talking about spoilers. I feel like I should say that because this episode is very much an episode I think you should experience for yourself. So, spoiler warning. But when it comes to surprising moments, I was just really not expecting that. I was not expecting Magneto to meet his end here. I know people were saying in the trailer that there wasn't a lot of Magneto when we were getting the trailers released. We only saw a little bit and it seemed like he was maybe only in a few scenes. But I personally thought they were just trying to keep secrets from us. Like they were like, there's more Magneto, but can't tell you what he does because it'll be spoilers for secret twists. I wasn't thinking that the twist was going to be that Magneto would be gone. What? I was not prepared. And the other thing that I think is interesting is, could this be how we get to Onslaught? We've all been talking about, will Onslaught appear? A lot of people asked me, do I think Onslaught will be in season 2? And I said, I think maybe if we get to season 3, but this could be planting a seed for Onslaught because Charles is connecting with Magneto's mind as he's passing away, as he's shuffling off this mortal coil. And goodness knows that when you connect your mind with somebody when that's happening, there can be repercussions to that. We did see with Jean the effects of her doing that with her friend when she was young. And I mean, it wasn't like her friend was exactly in her mind, but it impacts the mind. And so maybe this is how we get Onslaught. Something else that I noticed in this episode that I thought was crazy, that I can't believe it took me this long to notice, was Kandra. And of course, it's when Ramatut says external, when she's asking, like, now what do I do? And then I thought to myself, okay, this person that is reminding me of Storm, why does she feel familiar? So she's not Storm, she's an external who, and then I was like, oh my goodness, it's Kandra, because her design is so different in the animated series. Sometimes I forget that. I think of the comics Kandra, who looks quite different. However, I did recently go back and watch this episode with my friend Erica, where we actually have reactions on the channel for our watch through of the animated series that Erica and I are doing together. My friend Erica Buyeras. Look her up. She's an amazing board game designer as well. But in one of the episodes we were watching recently, it was the Gambit episode with the tithing, and they wouldn't stop saying tithe. Tithe was all over the place. Tithe, tithe, tithe. And Kandra is in that episode. So it was very cool to see her here, and now I know. And are we getting more externals? I don't know. Maybe. I would love that. Where's Celine? Give her to me. Give her to me. But that's not the only thing that was crazy in this episode. The fighting looked amazing, and we got some really big epic moments in these fights as we gave everything to stop En-Sabah from going through that portal, from becoming Apocalypse. And yet it does feel like this is kind of a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy for the X-Men. This fate of having to be the enemy of Apocalypse, and in fact, them trying to turn Apocalypse into a hero may have been the very thing that set him against the X-Men, because once he finds out that they haven't been being truthful for him, and I was thinking about this in the earlier episodes that we were watching, in the previous episode, when he sees the X, I thought this can go one of two ways. Either maybe something else will happen and we do actually change Apocalypse, or we've just given Apocalypse a reason, as En-Sabah, obviously he was En-Sabah then, he's Apocalypse now, to hate the X-Men even more. And it seems like it's the latter. So maybe the X-Men created their own problem there with this time travel. Was it fated to happen? It's kind of like what Ramatut warns Charles about, this idea that Apocalypse is inevitable. He's like a fixed point in time. It's gonna happen and it's always gonna be bad for the X-Men, and that is what it is. And I feel like when Ramatut is telling you something like that, you should probably listen. He knows things about time. It felt very TVA, that little dream sequence that Charles has where Ramatut is reaching out to him and they have that little conversation. Everything with Ramatut, it felt very TVA. It's very Loki. We're going into the other versions of Kang, the other names that he uses. There's kind of the Council of Kangs that we see with them gathered. And you know what it makes me think about? Just what Kang could have been for the MCU. There was so much potential for that villain, and things shook out the way they did. But it's also interesting because, yeah, just like, I never would have thought Kang would have been a very viable villain choice. I remember when that was first announced for the MCU, I thought, I don't really know. But man, when you do Kang right, it is so impressive. And I am loving everything they're doing with him in X-Men 97. And I also loved a lot of the stuff that we got in Loki. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that because of everything, we also had to lose just Kang as a character, because he's such a cool character. There's also a lot of great acting in this episode. Everything with Rogue, Lenore Zan just knocking it out of the park, talking about her loss of Gambit, talking about that idea of how love is what life is worth living for. There's just so much that when I watch X-Men, I feel this hope for like the world. And I know maybe I shouldn't in this episode because Apocalypse kind of won here, but that idea of that's what makes someone like Rogue a hero, that love is what you live for, even if it hurts you. It's also what makes life worth living. So the pain hurts, but it doesn't necessarily corrupt you because love is like light, you know? Is beautiful. Also, just even at the beginning of this episode, En Sabanur's breathing as he's mourning Ball, and this rage is building up inside him. Just breath can be so powerful and so effective emotionally. Use it. So lots of amazing voice acting moments in this. And of course, I loved Ramatut's voice. And I thought to myself, that sounds really familiar too. Who is that? And I looked it up and it's John Delancey. That's right. It's Q from Star Trek. I happen to also be a big Star Trek fan. I don't know if you know this about me, but when I looked that up, I was like, oh, that makes so sense. Also, John is such a great pick for someone like Kang because I think he has the range and the potential to do all of the voices for like all of the identities that Kang has. However, Kang is also a really cool character because you could just have a whole cast of amazing voice actors playing different versions of Kang. I feel like they even made Ramatut kind of look like John Delancey, so that's cool. You know what else is cool? The way that we let Magneto go out in this episode. I mean, sad to see him go, but what an epic way to leave. He's using his powers to close up a black hole. I'm sorry, what? That's some beyond Omega level tier stuff that we're getting. That was insane. And going out on this redemption moment, this hero high. What a beautiful way to have Magneto go. He's just come full circle as a character. And that doesn't mean that we won't see him again. After all, we are dealing with time travel in this season, so it's possible that Magneto could somehow return. There's also my belief of, maybe this is what leads us to Onslaught. Either way, something that I also know is that I already have my number one pick right now for the ultimate romance of this season, and it is Charles and Magnus. Magneto and Professor X, the two of them, the bromance, off the charts. Seeing them say goodbye to each other, it just really hit me. And I'm really sad now. Everything was going so well. But also, could this be a way that we get Joseph at some point? I don't know, but I would be interested to see what they would do with Joseph if we do get him in X-Men 97. It also made me sad because it made me wonder why Bishop came back so late. I guess, when you're doing time travel in ancient Egypt, it's probably not easy for you to remember the exact date or time. It's not like it's a period in history where there would have been clocks and calendars all over the place. It's not the modern age. So I'm sure Bishop did his best. And I also don't know how complicated it is to even time travel or pick a time or anything like that or set it up. So I'm sure he did his best. And if he came back earlier, honestly, it probably would have gone the same way. It's Apocalypse. We may have even lost Bishop if he came back earlier. I don't know. He was about to take Charles out, and then he threw back the words that Magneto had given him. When it comes to the emotions that we feel, too, in this episode, I just want to give a little shout out to the music here because I don't even remember what was happening on the screen at the time. I just remember I was watching it, and I was thinking to myself, I can hear what's going on and the music, and it was adding to every little bit that I was seeing on the screen. And I thought to myself, the music in this episode is actually amazing. And I hadn't even really fully noticed just how much it was doing, except for that one moment where I tapped into it. And then I was like, wow, this sounds great. It feels great. It looks great. The lighting in this episode, the use of shadow. This show is possibly the best thing that Disney and Marvel have produced together. Definitely within the last 8 years, if you combined all of the stuff that they had made, I still think this beats all of it. If you put it all together in one thing. And that's not, I don't want anyone to take that as an insult to other projects that we've seen from Marvel and Disney, because if you have been watching my channel for a while, I'm sure you know there is so much that I have loved in this time. Wonder Man recently was absolutely amazing. We've had WandaVision, we've had Loki. In terms of shows alone, we've been eating well. I loved Fantastic Four First Steps as well. There's been a lot of good stuff. But this, it's just on a whole other level, in my opinion. And I'm sure it's also my attachment to X-Men, obviously. They are one of my favorite teams. They are one of my favorite things of all time. So I know that. I acknowledge that for me, there's that bias. But this show, it's insane how good it is. And I am so happy about it. Well, that was kind of a fun little bait and switch with episode 4. I can't wait to see where we go next. Season 1, episode 5 was the emotional gut punch, and it feels like this season, episode 4 was that. And maybe episode 5 will be more of a filler episode, like we saw with season 1 with Jubilee and Mojo and all of that was going on. This episode that we're going to get next, based on the post-credits, which I did watch, feels like we're going to be seeing a Wolverine team up. And also the Madripoor Knights are here. We got Captain America. We got Black Widow in the suit she wears when she's part of Madripoor Knights. We got Wolverine. But it's also possible, because we have that Weapon X dossier, that this could be where Wolverine's going to get his adamantium back. It's also possible, whenever I think of Weapon X and old teams getting together, I do think of someone like Maverick. Of course, we did see in the trailer Lady Deathstrike and Sabretooth, so maybe that's where we face them. Maybe they even join up with Wolverine at some point. I don't know. A Lady Deathstrike Wolverine team up is crazy, but it could happen. And there is a little part of me that's kind of hoping maybe we'll see Alpha Flight. I don't think it will happen, but hey, a Canadian can dream. And of course, the X-Men are also at least partially back, so there's an opportunity for them to get involved. But I think it is going to be mainly a Wolverine-focused solo story in episode 5. And if you don't know what my Mortal Kombat shirt is referencing, I love Wolverine. So I can't wait to watch the next episode. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my review. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down in the comments below. If you ever want to catch my reactions to these, you can do so over on the Patreon, where we post the full reaction, or here on YouTube as a member, as one of my Golden Fang Gang members, where we also post reactions as well. So check that out. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. And until next time, friends, stay nerdy. Bye. And if you've missed any of my other X-Men content here on the channel, check out more of that over here.